Yo, and we're live. Hello, hello. I'm going to just... not so much a fan of that one. That one went a bit too heavy for me. But we're live. Hello, hello, and welcome to a bit of an odd stream I'm going to be doing today. Because it's going to be a note more serious, I suppose, than what I normally do. Even on these talky streams, which is, well, I've got the iPad here again to do drawing stuff. So, to give some visual interest, because otherwise this is just going to be me talking. And it is simply the, well, I suppose like the simplest way to put it is, if you aren't aware, I am autistic. I have ADHD, and it's not... I don't have diagnosed anxiety, but I am a very, very anxious person. I am in the process of... I'm in a waiting list to be assessed for a formal diagnosis. And due to some stuff that's been going on in life, I've been having to think a lot about this kind of stuff recently, and thought it would be good for me to just talk about it a bit. So, something like this I feel is maybe best to start with, you know, an introduction. If you're new around here, my name is Syrian. I'm a VTuber, streamer. I mostly play games and stuff. That's what I enjoy. I've been trying to branch out a wee bit recently and do more things, like talking about things and trying to encourage myself to do more talking, partly because of what I'm going to be talking about here on with this little thing. And well, back when I was when was it now? I think it was when I was I think it was when I was 9 years old. I think when I was about 9 or 10, I received a diagnosis of, what was that? Asperger's syndrome is a form of autism, as well as I think I got the autism diagnosis first, and then it was followed by the ADHD diagnosis. So this has been autism and ADHD has been something I've been living with all my life, but I've known I've had it for a notable majority of my life at this stage. But it's only really recently that I've actually started to understand it. And to, well, I'll put it into reference without giving away my exact age. It's closer to... My diagnosis is closer to 20 years ago than it is anything else at this stage. Any other milestone, so... having known I've had it for so long and only now understanding it, it's been a bit of a journey. So I kind of just want to. It'll mostly be talking about my own experience, because this is I suppose you could call it a mental health thing. And when it comes to mental health, we're all different. So my experience was not going to be the same as anyone else's with autism and ADHD. But you know, part of me hopes that maybe some of this will be helpful for someone else. But again, mostly this is just kind of me doing it for my own personal reasons. Probably should make sure there is some disclaimer at the start of this. I probably should have put one in the descriptions now as well, now that I think about it, that there might be potentially actually concerning, upsetting content here, because well, while I'm not planning to delve into it, just due to the interconnected nature of this kind of stuff, there might be topics coming up related to my, I have also suffered from depression in the past, which included self-harm and suicidal ideation. That's not the topic I'm planning to talk about, but just because it's... mental health stuff gets a bit messy, I feel it's hard to cleanly divide things up, so there might... just topics like that might come up, might be talked about a wee bit. So, just making sure you're aware of that. And... I have notes here I'm trying to kind of follow to give me an idea, to try and keep me on track, but I haven't written them out particularly well. I'm trying to understand what I meant when I wrote my next point. Oh, yeah, but you know, now I remember what I was trying to say. It's about how, in its own way, like having these struggles, like, is actually what has led me in part to start making videos and doing streaming in the first place. Because, well, a lot of my struggles with this have come down to social issues. Particularly, like, my anxiety is very much a social anxiety in a lot of ways. So a lot of my motivation to start streaming was because of my autism, ADHD, and anxiety, and trying to overcome, like, the worst problems that causes for me by putting myself out here, forcing myself to talk, even if it's just to a camera. And, well, I feel it's worked. I feel I've become a little more confident in the last year or so. But today I want to just kind of, yeah, talk about things, because, well, the exact situation is I'm in a way applying for, like, a recognition as being disabled at the moment, which is... it's a process, and part of the process is having to create a list, an essay of sorts on, you know, how your disability affects you. And it wasn't until I actually started writing it out that I kind of realized how many things, like, actually do affect me, especially because, I admit, this is, I moved out in December, and I'm living with a friend who doesn't have autism. And it's kind of been a bit of experience for me for the first time, kind of learning a lot more about things I just thought were normal that apparently are not normal, that are very much autism things. So, well, I thought if there was ever time to talk about it, it would be now, while this is all fresh in my mind. I really wish this app wouldn't do that flickery thing sometimes when it connects to the computer. Alright. There we go. Okay, now. So, I have notes here, and it's, I understand what I was trying to go for, but I'm not... I will maybe try and follow them. But again, it comes down to... Oh, you're going to get to see my horrible handwriting again here. But it comes down to... I have 3 separate conditions. My autism, ADHD, and anxiety. I'm going to mostly probably be focusing on talking about the first 2, because these are ones I've got an official diagnosis for these 2. Whereas anxiety is, I know for a fact I am just a very anxious person, and I know I do have, like, quite bad anxiety attacks at times. But I'm also kind of, because I know I have autism and ADHD, and I'm not quite sure if maybe just what my anxiety, if I call it that, is maybe just the way that these other 2 conditions interact with each other. Which is partly why I'm currently seeking out an actual diagnosis, but also why I'm not going to talk too much about it, because I don't want to talk about too much about something I don't actually know if I have yet, in case if it ends up I don't have it and I'm talking complete crap for people who actually do have anxiety. So I suppose in this case I'll be talking a bit more about, I suppose maybe a good way to put it is lowercase a anxiety. Not the condition, just anxiety. The kind that maybe we all deal with now and then. So, I suppose maybe a good starting point is actually to talk about these conditions. At least my awareness of them, as I would hope as someone who has them, I'd know a bit about them, but it's actually a little more awkward. I suppose the first one deal with is the one I feel I know the most about, kind of from a more objective standpoint and not just my own personal experience, and that is ADHD. ADHD is definitely becoming, like, in recent years, much more. There's a lot more out and about it on the internet to read up on and listen to than there was when I was in school, like, and just after my diagnosis. Because a lot of that's like been quite helpful for me in actually understanding things, because it never felt very easy to understand, and it never felt too well explained to me by the health professionals I was seeing at the time to understand what it actually means. The most I understood for a long time was that it was mostly to focus on the HD part, the hyperactivity disorder, just that, oh, I fidget a lot. That must be what they mean, because I do fidget a lot. I do have a strong tendency to do that. But it's only in recent years that I've been able to sit down and think a bit more about this is actually like how it affects me and what it does. And this is also the only one where I know a bit more about, well, I feel know a bit more about the how would I say, not the biology, but the neurology of how it works. And you know, because it's the only one I can actually talk about, I'll talk about it a wee bit. ADHD comes down to, really, the cause, from what I'm aware, is these little things in your brain called what's called neurotransmitters. I'm fairly sure. Someone might have to correct my GCSE level biology knowledge. And oh, I don't like that one. I don't like. It's not clear enough there, I don't think. Oh, hold up. Swap back to the pen, please. So we've got the neuroconnect. Okay, I feel that's maybe a little bit clearer. It's also not as clear at all. Okay, but that'll do. Our brains are full of these neurotransmitters that have are they called transmitters and receivers? This is my understanding of it. It may not be exactly right, but I understand the brain works something along the lines of this. Now, when your brain needs to send a signal, it releases chemicals. Oh wait, no, the chemicals are called neurotransmitters. These are just neurons, aren't they? It releases little chemicals called neurotransmitters into this gap between the receiver and the transmitter, or the two ends of the neuron. The more of these neurotransmitters in the gap there are, the greater this is the size, yes. The more of the transmitters there are, the stronger the signal. Now, there are different types of these neurotransmitters. Ones I know the name of are, well, we've got, I think I only know the names of two. I probably know more names, but the ones that immediately come to mind are serotonin and dopamine. The serotonin's the happy chemical. Your brain releases serotonin into these gaps when, you feel happy, you feel good about yourself. Or not even necessarily about yourself, but you feel good. It is a very nice chemical reaction to have happen in your brain. On the other hand, we have dopamine, dopamine I feel is a little similar in some ways. It's a how's it called, a reward chemical, I think. Your brain, I'm not quite sure too much about dopamine, but I know it's partly responsible for being able to focus. And this is where it comes into ADHD. Because our bodies are pretty good at doing the whole recycling thing. I'm actually going to, to make it a little easier, let's use red for dopamine. So, when we do when our brain, normally we have, right, let's put this thought together and then start talking. I see, come on. So, even when we're not, like, producing dopamine, there's normally a set amount that sits around in the transmitter. We have, like, a default level of dopamine in our systems. And we have some backup kind of stored back in the neuron, which is waiting to be released for, when we've earned it, when we've earned our reward of dopamine. And when we do something that triggers that release, like, what does release dopamine at a base level? I should have an easy answer for these, because I've thought a lot about it. So, but I suppose when something attracts your attention, you learn something new that you enjoy, your brain releases that little bit of extra dopamine, which makes you feel fairly positive. I think it's similar to serotonin. Can't remember. I'm by no means a neurologist. I don't even know if neurology is the right field for talking about this. But our bodies are quite good at recycling. So once the moment's over and we've received our dopamine, that rather than, just let it linger there and I don't know if it expires or goes off. Does dopamine have a sell-by date? Oh, but rather than that, the body will suck it back up into the neuron to use again later. Now, from what I understand, the core of ADHD, neurologically, is that, well, our neurons like... Oh, that's not the eraser. Our neurons like to suck a little too much. Oh, give me back in to draw that. I draw a different shape every time. And rather than, leave us with a normal amount of dopamine that kind of, keeps us at that flat level, our brains like to stockpile far more of it back here. So you've got a lot sitting in storage and just a little bit out here. Now, the thing is, our brains know that, we want a certain level of dopamine. We still want the average level. But we don't have that average level. So what we need to do is our brain kind of tells us, okay, we need to find something that, gives us that level of dopamine. And like I said, dopamine kind of can come along like when you learn something new, or generally it's when you're interested or invested in something, I feel, that dopamine is produced. So I think not necessarily when you're happy. I feel that's what separates it from serotonin. But it feels more interestful. I should have looked this up beforehand, but I'm terrible at research. So our bodies we're always kind of instinctively like seeking out these things to bring dopamine levels back up to, a normal level. But we're always having to fight against the neurons pulling that dopamine back into the neuron. So, which is... Oh. Yeah, that's where the problem comes in, because it makes it hard to focus. Because anytime... A lot of things will can only give you that dopamine so much. And if it's something that doesn't interest you, it won't give you the dopamine. But your body's constantly kind of craving, kind of like, you don't have enough of this in your system. You are below the level you need. So you're always searching for that. Searching for your next dopamine fix. My understanding, that's kind of the root of ADHD. I've explained that really badly. But basically it comes down to it's not a serotonin deficiency, but your brain just reabsorbs serotonin too quickly and too much. Keep you at a good average. Which I believe is why... forgotten the name of it now, but the medication for ADHD is called something. Wait, is it dopamine or is it serotonin? Is it serotonin? I'm fairly certain it's dopamine. Like dopamine reuptake inhibitors, because they inhibit the reuptake of dopamine, which means it allows it to stay in your system for longer, and hopefully then avoids the lack of concentration issues that come up. Oh, do I say lack of concentration? ADHD has... If you know about ADHD, you probably know of one other thing. It's not necessarily... I'm not the first person to bring it up, but yeah. If you don't know what ADHD stands for, I believe it is... Well, I don't believe it is. I know it is. But it is attention... More of my horrible handwriting. Attention... Deficit... I misspelled deficit. I think it's / hyperactivity disorder. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Which is... to be fair, there's mainly one word I have an issue with. And that is the deficit part. I feel it's more... I believe you can still keep the abbreviation, but I feel the deficit would be better worded as a dysregulation. Because something about ADHD is it's not that you necessarily will have a deficit in your attention span or in your concentration. It's that you can't really control it. I suppose there's also, you could say the hyperactivity part isn't always part of it, but I suppose that's why quite often you would have it just called ADD instead of ADHD. I just tend to call it ADHD because that's, well, when I was diagnosed, that's what it was called, and that's what I know it as. But there's a song I saw a guy wrote, kind of a parody of Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, but just called ADHD. And there was a line in that, or well, it was a couple of lines, that I thought really quite summed up what it's like to be the main things about ADHD. Because I compared it kind of like, you know, normal brains, human brains, kind of work like you've got your sound mixing board. Oh, I'm on the eraser again. Whoop. You've got a sound mixing board, and you've got all your little dials that you can have at different levels, like for your audio mixing. These can all be different things for different different tasks. Like you might have, you know, chores on one of... How am I misspelling chores? Chores on one of them, your studies on another. And you can kind of assign, you know, you give different tasks different amounts of attention. You give different thoughts different priorities. You have all these things on your mind, but you know, they have different priorities. You can, to an extent, adjust them. So like having ADHD is more like your brain is a light switch. It has on and it has off. And that was kind of... It was such a simple thing in such a silly song, but it just makes so... It summed up so much of how I feel in life. That my focus is either there or it's not. If you have my focus, you have all my focus. If you don't have my focus, I'm sorry, but you're not getting... You don't have anything from me. No, which is... So I feel it's both ADHD's biggest strength and its biggest weakness. Because I suppose, you know, to kind of start on a more positive note, that it is, because a lot of this is going to be negative, this video, because I'm talking about problems I have. Because, well, that's what I've been thinking about a lot recently, and it's what I kind of want to vent about. But one of the real strengths of having ADHD. I don't know if I should call it a strength, but I don't want to say an advantage either. So it's weird how to word it. but it can very much be a good thing and a very awesome thing if it works out for you. But is the ability to hyperfixate. Well, I say the ability to hyperfixate. I suppose it would be better to do the tendency to hyperfixate. The ability implies we have any choice in the matter. So, but yeah, that's a common word that I think comes up in talking about ADHD, is the term of hyperfixation. Which is very much what it says on the tin. You fixate on something to a hyper level. And it's when you find something that that can consistently get you that dopamine release from something, and your brain latches onto that. Your brain latches onto that and kind of goes, okay, I can get dopamine from this. I don't want to stop thinking about this, because if I stop thinking about this, I don't get my dopamine. Now, hyperfixations I found can... Sometimes they don't last long at all. Like, they can last, just a couple of days, and then your brain kind of gets used to it and decides, okay, this isn't actually that interesting. And you go back to your endless search for more stimuli. Other times, like with me and, for example, tokusatsu. I've talked about tokusatsu a few times on the video, on the channel, and, just because I haven't talked about it as much as I do play games or something, tokusatsu is something that's nearly always on my mind. Just thinking about it just makes my brain work better. I can actually concentrate on tokusatsu. It's just one of those... It is probably, for me, my definitive hyperfixation. And that's... The thing is, hyperfixations... Okay, to get onto like why these can be a good thing is, like, quite often they can kind of just be problems, because me thinking about tokusatsu isn't a necessarily helpful hyperfixation. Because a lot of times when I should be thinking about other things, my brain is thinking about tokusatsu, because, the other thing that's trying to get my attention doesn't give me dopamine. Like, doing the dishes. Oh, something I know I need to do, but my brain's kind of like, I don't want to consider doing that. There's other things to think about. But sometimes you get hyperfixations on something that's actually quite useful. For example, it was a couple of months ago, and I'm really annoyed that this hyperfixation didn't last longer. But I, on a whim, downloaded Blender for the 3D animation modeling software. And I hyperfixated on that for a while, and I learned a lot about how to use, like, to do 3D modeling and animation in that couple of weeks. And, there was no one pushing me to do it. I was just kind of like, I like this. I want to learn about this. I want to study this. I even started, like, looking up kind of courses I could take on it, which is part of why I lost the interest in it, because that idea got shut down fairly quickly due to other real-life reasons. No, but for those 2 weeks, like, I was suddenly incredibly productive. And I know other people, like, with ADHD have had that happen, like, where they'll hyperfixate on something, like learning an instrument or learning a language. And because their brain is capable of focusing for so long with such intensity on it, they learn it. They can learn, like, these new skills, like, so quickly. And the downside is, of course, as I mentioned, we don't exactly control the hyperfixation. It's more, I've heard the phrase used by some other people who do videos on ADHD that, we follow the dopamine. We don't choose where it goes, we just follow it. Which, yeah, that sounds about right to me. No, let's actually scroll up. What am I saying about ADHD here? Yeah, that would be the main thing I'd have to say about ADHD, is remember about hyperfixations. Oh. The other thing I don't know if this is just ADHD or if this is both the ADHD and the autism that causes this, but this is going now to one of the big issues that I feel it's quite a common part of ADHD as well. I don't know if it is pure, like, in my case, purely ADHD, or if, like, the autism also contributes to this. But that is a problem called executive dysfunction. I hope you're all enjoying my horrible handwriting. So, executive dysfunction is, I suppose it's probably easier to explain what executive function is first. The executive function is the processes in our brain responsible for, I think effectively just decision making. Actually making the decision to do something, or to prioritize tasks and such. So, executive dysfunction is, you know, a lack of function to do that, the lack of ability to make decisions and act on them. Excuse me. And I feel this is the common symptom of ADHD that generally gets people with ADHD often seen as being lazy, which is, if your executive function, functions, you can make a decision. You can do something like say, okay, I'm going to do the dishes, and you can do the dishes. I'm going to use the dishes as an example a lot because it's something that bothers me. I don't do enough. But if you have executive dysfunction, you can think, right, I need to do the dishes. I want to do the dishes. Let's do the dishes. But, you just kind of don't. And it goes beyond like not want. It doesn't go beyond not want to. Because you want to do something. You should do something. It's good to do this thing. But regardless of what you tell yourself and how you argue with yourself, your brain and body just refuse to kind of get that message from your conscious actually to action. As well as using the example of chores, like always kind of like that emphasis, that really does make it sound like a lazy thing. But for me, there's a lot of personal areas where it bothers me that this doesn't work. I think for some examples is, I have a big hobby in creative writing, particularly cooperative creative writing. But I do quite enjoy writing stuff myself. But I really struggle to actually do any, because I can sit for an hour telling myself, okay, I want to do some writing. I've got this story in my head. I want to put it to paper. I want to type it up. And I can sit there for an hour doing nothing but telling myself to go and do this thing that I want to do. I enjoy doing. And my brain's just, no, we're not going to do that. And that's more than the concentration thing. I think this is the part of ADHD that causes me the most frustration, personally. Because there are so many things I want to do that, because of this disconnect between my will and my brain, it doesn't work. Even sometimes like playing games, like I will sit at my computer with Discord chat open and kind of go, okay, I've made the decision I want to play some games. I've got free time. I've got nothing else to do. I'm going to play some games that I enjoy. I'm going to hop on Final Fantasy 14 and do some dungeons. Or, work on my glams. And no, I don't. I just sit there and look at the desktop for half an hour. Or just keep alternating between the same two chat windows that don't ever, with no one posting new messages. And it really does bother me. I had a question asked in one of the Discords I'm in recently about what activity wastes the most time Well, not what activity. I think it's like what wastes the most time in your life. And my answer was simply executive dysfunction. I waste so much time not doing anything. Oh, and that is the real thing that bothers me about having ADHD. The hyperfixations are actually kind of fun sometimes, because sometimes, like, I never thought I'd get into 3D animation or modeling, like, even for a little bit, but for that 2 weeks, like, it's super fun to have a hyperfixation. But executive dysfunction is never fun. Executive dysfunction is just pain. Oh, but no, I've spent already now like half an hour talking about ADHD, so let's maybe try and talk a little bit more about autism. Now, my specific diagnosis of autism, when I first got it, was for, I believe is how it's spelled, Asperger's syndrome. I don't really think these days you get diagnoses for Asperger's, because I think there's some like negative connotations with the name, because from where the actual like Asperger himself, who it's named after, wasn't, you know, a great person. But generally I just refer to myself these days as autistic rather than saying I have Asperger's. But you know, I still bring up the term because that's, you know, if initially what I was diagnosed with. And I know there's like Asperger's is now, autism is now, it's even in the what the more common diagnosis title is, which I believe is just autism spectrum disorder, or, you know, ASD. Now I feel ASD is the more common term used nowadays for it, and like it says, it is a spectrum. So like quite often, like, you know, a lot of people know of the like very bad stereotypes of autism, you know, where people would be kind of almost entirely non-verbal, but then it is very much a spectrum. You know, it's one of the things where I'm kind of because Asperger's syndrome, from what I'm aware, was what used to be referred to as high-functioning autism, which was that. I'm trying to think of how to explain it. I think suffice to say, the point of me is it is a spectrum. So what I'm talking about here is going to be much more subjective, because I only have my autism. I'm not autistic in the same way any other person with autism might be. So, I suppose for me, autism, the main struggles where I consider my autism relevant is with socializing and my social ability. It's quite often, I've mostly often heard of it as a learning disability, autism, but I'm not quite sure I see it too much as a learning issue as it is just a social issue. Because most of it comes down to, I very much struggle to understand and interpret how other people think. Oh, particularly, well, I think words are failing me. This is one of those situations. This isn't related to the social side of things. This is just related to the translating thoughts and feelings into coherent words is very much a struggle. It takes me a lot of time to try and do this, and this is like one of the big reasons why I started this channel, was to try and encourage myself to, by doing a lot more talking. Maybe it's part of the reason, I suppose, why I want to do a video like this, talking about stuff like this, so that I can kind of give myself a chance to get used to talking more about this stuff openly and just speaking about it. There's quite often conversations with me, particularly when I was seeing healthcare professionals about my autism and ADHD. There was a lot of excuse me, I'm yawning again. But there were a lot of times where I'd be asked a question and I would go silent for a good 5 minutes while I tried to process an answer. And generally then that answer wouldn't be much of any substance. When it comes to interacting with other people, it's really, I think the hardest bit is understanding intention. Because it's hard for me to kind of understand like what other people are thinking, or to like pick up on social cues or interpret what like words or phrases might be, like especially if there's any possibility there's a double meaning. Like if someone says something that I kind of know can have two meanings, even if it should be obvious from context, in the situation at the time my brain will, what do they mean? Is it answer A or is it answer B? Which one's the right answer? Oh. And rather than settling on one or the other, my brain will just, you know, panic and be quiet and not respond. It's like I feel that's is that the best way to put it? It's like non-specific phrases? No. It's anytime anything could, like if something could be misinterpreted, I'll misinterpret it, or I'll be afraid of misinterpreting it that I won't interpret it at all. So, that, or my brain goes the opposite way, depending on kind of. Well, I suppose it goes based on my confidence in the situation. If I'm confident around someone, if I'm around someone I'm more friendly with, I will tend to go the opposite way and just not consider this at all and just take words at face value. I suppose I'll do that. I suppose I do that even in situations where I'm not too familiar. That I just kind of, I'll take the words as I'll take the words as what they mean. I apologize for the yawning. I wish I had an effective way of stopping it. Oh, but where was I? My brain has stopped working. Here's what I was afraid of doing these videos. No. Okay, I think maybe I should just move on because This is the point I'm trying to make. I don't do good at I don't do good with words. It is always a struggle for me to understand. So, no. But yeah, I suppose this this does go on to kind of why this becomes a problem. I mean, of course, there's the problem that arises from. There's a problem that arises from this just being, you know, creating awkward social situations and, you know, situations like this where I'm supposed to be talking, but I'm not talking. Which just, you know, makes it hard to get along with people. Especially people who I haven't known long enough for it. Oh, apologies again. But especially people who don't know me well enough to know, like, how autism affects me and such. because then maybe I'm just coming off as rude or, you know, not too bright. So the not too bright thing's not exactly a lie either. But it really does come down to the biggest issue is the stress it causes. And the stress that builds up with this, a term used, I'm not sure it's used quite as often around ADHD. I do know it is used with ADHD. I feel it's very prevalent with autism, is the idea of masking. Masking as in, you know, mask. Which is trying to hide the fact you're autistic or you have this other condition. Why does my N look more like a U? I don't like that. There we go. That's not any better. Oh, but yeah, it's this compulsive need to act normal. Or I suppose maybe a better way is to... A compulsive need... You feel that compulsive need to not act abnormal. So you'll kind of restrain yourself, you'll put a filter on what you say and how you act. Like forcing yourself to act and talk and act in ways that are unnatural to you. To try and seem more like you fit, to try and just fit in more. Which is, you know, it's not a pleasant nor an easy task to constantly try and fake yourself. Especially as the longer it goes on around people, the more afraid you can be of taking off your mask. Because now kind of, oh, people believe this is what I'm like, so I can't let them see what I'm really like, or, you know, they'll think I'm mad or something. And so that stress isn't helped by... I can only speak for myself, but I'm quite self-aware of the fact I don't understand people. And that I don't... Or not even necessarily... even if I do understand people, because I'm self-aware of the fact that I often don't, I always have this... I always make the jump and assumption to kind of, okay, I probably haven't understood what this person said correctly. What if I'm not understanding them correctly? What if they meant something completely different? What if I'm taking all of this the wrong way? And hello, app. I don't know why you decided to do that. No, this app for connecting the iPad to my computer is a little bit wonky at times. I need to look at getting a new one. Ooh. Yeah, but that builds up stress, which leads into... this is part of where I'm kind of because mental health in any capacity is an awkward beast to talk about, I feel. Especially when I'm trying to talk about 3 separate conditions that 2 of them I definitely have and 1 of them I maybe have. Because it ends up being you've got, there we go. Everyone else remember these? Oh, that's... Oh, no, I want to move the circle. Let me do that again. Remember on these good old Venn diagrams. As you know, in one case we have, you know, the ASD here. We have the anxiety here. And the ADHD here. So it's... This is a weird place to have this talk, but I feel like maybe I should have had this at the very beginning. But you have these 3 conditions, but you know, I only have the 1 brain. I'm still just 1 person. And these are all components of me, like they're not like clearly divided up. So there's parts where the ADHD and autism overlap a bit. So I think this comes down to kind of like the you know, the executive dysfunction. I was about to write ED there. ED is a abbreviation for a completely different medical problem. Like, executive dysfunction, I feel, is maybe part of that. And then I know a lot of the social stresses caused by my autism quite often kind of like lean into the anxiety side of things, which is partly why I'm not sure if, do I actually have anxiety, or is it just the way like some of my stresses with ADHD and autism overlap that causes this anxiousness that isn't actually, you know, medical what's the word? Chronic anxiety? Like, can't remember what the like medical diagnosis is. So, and then this all gets even messier because there are, you know, these aren't the only things, because I do have kind of how do I add like a weird third, fourth circle in like here? Now there's a weird circle here, which is depression. Because that's another thing that I don't have depression anymore. I think I was diagnosed with it. I don't even actually know if I was technically diagnosed. Maybe maybe I do on paper still have depression. I don't consider myself to have depression anymore, because I definitely don't have a lot of the struggles directly related to it. But I have a lot of the mindsets that came in from depression, the overlap with that. Like, I've still got like a lingering self-esteem issues, and I mentioned, I won't go into details about it, but like the self-harming habits or thoughts of, you know, suicidal ideation, like they're still kind of present even without the depression itself. And all of this blends together in a weird way, which makes it awkward. Especially now I'm actually trying to talk about it. It makes it more awkward to discuss this kind of thing than I thought. Especially because I am in no way qualified to... Well, beyond actually having first-hand experience, I don't have any... I'm qualified to know about these things. I'm not qualified necessarily to talk about them. Yeah, but that's the stress from all the having to mask and the social stuff. So it builds a lot. I'm by far like not the first person to make it, but it's like you've got your, you know, your bottle of cola or whatever, and you've got the pressure in it. You know, there's always no amount of pressure. And like every social interaction, like when you have autism, when you're having to mask, like adds that little bit of extra pressure to it. I don't know why scribbles equal pressure, but they do. Like, every social encounter I'm in, every moment I spend having to mask how I actually think and feel, adds to that pressure. And like constantly being aware, like even if I'm understanding the situation perfectly, even if I'm feeling comfortable, as long as I have that feeling kind of, I really hope I'm understanding this person correctly. Like, all of that just adds pressure, which is what leads to anxiety. Is when when that pressure builds up to a level. Because the more pressure I feel, the more I worry about these things. The less confident I am of understanding people, the more I have those thoughts of, oh, am I understanding them correctly? Which quite often, and unfortunately, leads to cases of me blowing my top. Which is, for me, that manifests as... Well, this is where I'm I need to look more into anxiety. But what I consider an anxiety attack, or a panic attack, one of the two. Which generally, in most cases for me recently, you know, just I completely shut down. I go non-verbal. I go like I can't communicate to people. I can't process thoughts of like what to say. I'm not even mentally able to reply to them. because my brain just isn't able to process, what would I say? Sometimes there's little bits of self-harm involved. Again, I won't go into details, but it gets to that kind of, what I'm trying to get is the pressure of that, like, it's not just kind of a, no stress is casual. Or is there a casual stress? No. So I say it's something I actually have to put effort and thought into managing, because I don't want to have these situations. So that's... I just had the moment of what am I talking about? I know exactly what I'm talking about. I just... debating whether or not talking about it here was a good idea. But I'm here now, might as well continue. I've never been known for making good decisions. I suppose something... so maybe I should move on to, part of this is maybe a bit more easy to understand, and maybe a bit more... less abstract and social stuff. But struggling with sensory stuff is another common autistic trait, and one I have. For me, very much I am overly sensitive to noise, taste, and texture of things. When I say overly sensitive, particularly in regards... well, I suppose in regards to all of these, I'm not overly sensitive in kind of like being able to tell them apart. Like, I can't listen to like different audio things and kind of like tell like small, like precise like differences in quality. I'm not an audiophile. But very much, there are some noises that just I can't stand at all. That just having them in the background kind of really raises like my anxiety. For example, just this morning, there was someone's car alarm going off on the street outside. I think it was a car alarm. It might have been a shop alarm or something. But it was going off far enough away that I could just barely hear it. And that's one thing I hate, because I could hear this kind of like this high-pitched beeping. But I could only just barely hear it. Like, it wasn't loud enough for me to actually think about, to like hear the sound. I could just hear this faintest little beep, 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 beep. Just somewhere off in the distance. And that was... it didn't last too long, but I know if I think when things like that happen, I kind of get that pressure building in my chest, that kind of... okay, I'm not feeling too good now. I'm... yeah, noise I feel has quite often been the biggest one for me, because it's noise is the sense other than sight, and sight's not one I really struggle with. I don't have sensory issues with my sight, I don't feel. Other than the fact I need to wear glasses, but that's not to do with autism at all. But noise is so far out of your control, because unless you have a soundproof room in your house, you're going to be exposed to outside noise. If you live out in the countryside, maybe it's not too bad. You've only got, natural sounds. I currently live in a by Northern Irish standards, it's a decent-ish sized town, I think. We're big enough that we call the town calls itself a city. Oh, but like, there's so much noise. Like, there's police sirens. Not too long ago, last month, I had to like skip a couple of streams because I had to actually leave my apartment for a while and stay with my mum for a couple of days, because there are big marching bands and parades going on right outside our house, and that kind of noise, like, I couldn't have dealt with it, and there was no way really to control it, because they're not shutting down public events just because it causes one random guy anxiety. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Taste and texture are the ones I have issue with. Texture, like, I kind of have to, like, 90% of the time, cut labels at, like, the back of... my collar, off. Actually, to be fair, it's not so much collars anymore. It used to be t-shirt collars. Now it's trousers. Little labels and trousers. Like I cannot stand them. I have to cut them off. Oh, well, taste. Yeah, taste is one that I've gotten better at dealing with. It's very much very uncomfortable experience for me to have like to deal with unfamiliar tastes or unexpected tastes. So, but texture, yeah, when texture and taste come together, that's one real area of stress for me. So, because like there are some, I think it's mostly unexpected stuff. Like if I'm eating a bit of like a burger or something, and I find a bit of gristle in it, you know, that I'm not expecting, that my brain doesn't like that. My brain doesn't like that because my brain is like eating a burger, and I expect the burger to, you know, have a certain texture. That texture is not gristle. So when I encounter gristle eating my burger, my brain just goes, no, I don't trust this food anymore. And in quite a few cases, like find something like that, it doesn't just mean I don't want to eat the burger anymore. It means I won't eat for like a couple of hours after that, because my brain's just gonna go, nope, food can't be trusted. Food is bad. Food is evil. And it's not until I've managed to like, separate myself enough from that event that my brain's kind of forgotten about that betrayal that I'll be able to convince myself to eat again. Does he ever... It's maybe not a texture issue as much as it is just a general scent touch issue. But like having stuff on my skin bothers me. And by that I mean like... well, the big child one is face paint. And like kids love getting their face painted, right? And I'm like, no, I don't like having paint on me at all. It's uncomfortable. I can always feel it there. I can't not experience the sensation. Or if quite often I try and do when I can and when my anxiety permits. Help my granddad with his work as an electrician. Often like the first thing I always have to do when I get back from day working with him though is immediately take a shower, because quite often we're working in not building sites, but houses that are being renovated or are just newly built, and we're, you know, putting electrical outlets into walls and such, and there's a lot of plasterboard and dust about, and it just kind of builds up a whole layer on your skin, and I feel that the whole day, and it's one of those other things, like bringing it back to the bottle, it's constantly adding that little bit of pressure just persistently throughout the day. Those kind of sensory issues are, to my awareness, like quite common among people who have autism. And they're both some of the easiest and hardest to manage. Because things like the taste and texture things, like especially like having my own home and like cooking for myself and such, I can all control. Like I control what I eat. I can make sure I pick foods that I know are going to have consistent textures and, or well, at least I should have consistent textures and won't have any unexpected tastes and such. And I always, because I'm making my own meals, I know what I'm eating. And textures as well, like I'm always nearby to shower if I get paint on me or anything, or like it's easier for me to control these things. Noise is, like I said, the difficult one because it's very hard to have any control over what noises are going on around you. Don't fall asleep on me, iPad. So, do I have help? Like I don't wear them with my computer because they're wireless, and I like a wired headphones for my computer. But I've got a set of nice active noise cancelling headphones. They're not the most expensive ones, but they are so nice. So if you know someone, if you know someone with autism and they don't already have a pair, if you bought them a set of like noise cancelling headphones, as long as they like headphones, I think they very much appreciate it, because they are glorious. For the ones I have, like they're not the complete kind of, they silence everything around me. They do make it quite quiet, so I can't like hear people speak clearly. But no, they help cut down so much of that like background noise that adds to that stress. Like if I'm out on the street, kind of it takes away kind of just the sound of the wind in my ears, or it means I'm only hearing cars traveling that are nearby me. I'm not hearing all the cars kind of in the distance or on the roads nearby. I'm not hearing the chatter of people like having their, gossiping on the side of the street. I can still hear what's going on around me. I'm still audibly aware of the world, but I don't have that. It just makes life so nice. It's little things like sensory issues are, again, this is all like my personal awareness of stuff. This is quite subjective, but I do. Oh. From what I've been made aware, like, since these kind of sensory issues are very common in autism. So, another issue, kind of to do with senses, though, that is actually one I've only become kind of aware recently. Because, one, because it's now that I've moved out and I'm responsible for making all of my own meals. It's not just before, like when I'd been living with my grandparents, I was responsible for my own lunch most of the times, but my grandmother tended to make dinner for the whole household. But on my own, I'm responsible for everything, and it's something my flatmate, who doesn't have autism, has helped me notice, that I don't eat very often. And I'm starting to learn and find out that it's apparently a common thing with autism. Well, I say a common thing. I don't know how actually common it is, but I've heard enough to know that it's not just me. It's not just something I deal with. But it's that my brain doesn't understand what hunger feels like, or it does, and just decides not to tell me. So for the longest while, I've kind of assumed hunger was, quite often I'll eat when I feel hungry, and when I feel hungry, what does hungry look like? Hungry looks like, I'm trembling, I feel weak, I feel faint, and yeah, it was same with my flatmate, and kind of getting those notifications kind of from him to kind of, no, that's not what hunger feels like. That's kind of, you were hungry quite a while ago. So it's like it's not actually that I experienced hunger. I just experienced the physical, symptoms of hunger. So, which, oh, very sorry for the yawn. Yeah, it causes it doesn't cause the issue, but it kind of leads on to the struggle of having. I then end up. Well, I don't. Yeah, this is just to clarify. I'm not like starving myself. Like I'm not underfed all the time. Because I have a tendency to make up that when I do feel this hunger, I'm kind of like, okay, I am shaking, I am feeling faint, I am feeling weak, I am, nervous, I might just faint. That was another yawn. Apologies. So I tend to then overeat when I do eat. So I might only eat, like, as half as often as, you know, I should, but I tend to eat twice as much in a single sitting as I should. So it kind of balances out, but it's not exactly a healthy way of doing things. But this does apply to a couple other things. For example, like to maybe get a little personal in a way, but like toilet habits. Like I tend to not feel the need to use the toilet until kind of, you know, it's nearly too late. It's something that has in the past caused problems, but let's not get into details. And on the point of yawning, tiredness as well. I don't feel tired. Well, I feel tired when it gets to the stage where I'm actually kind of struggling to stay awake. I don't have that in-between stage where I'm kind of like, you know, I'm a bit tired. I feel like going to bed. It's not until I'm kind of, oh, I feel I might collapse at any moment that I'm kind of like, oh, I should go to sleep. So I feel this is where, is this like maybe, I think this is where there's a bit of an overlap with the ADHD when it comes to things and the executive dysfunction. Is that we have the issue of, well, I don't feel hungry. So, well, I don't need to eat. It's why should I eat? I don't want to. There's no reason for it to eat. I don't feel hungry. Even if part of my brain is kind of going, well, it has been, you know, 24 hours since your last meal. But my brain just kind of goes, yeah, but you don't feel hungry. You don't need food. So, and tiredness as well. Tiredness is the big one because I've been struggling for so long to have a consistent sleep schedule. If you haven't guessed, it doesn't work. It's not working. I have an abysmal sleep schedule. I'm currently on America time. It's that messed up. I can't even say a specific point in America time, but no, it's some American time. It'll reset at some point and get back onto roughly British time, but don't worry, in a couple of days it'll be messed up again. But yeah, that comes down to the feeling again of, I don't feel tired. So my brain kind of and the executive dysfunction goes, you're not tired, you don't need to sleep, it's a waste of time for you to sleep when you're feeling this awake, you should do something. Which then leads back to previous executive dysfunction issue of, we're not going to do anything. We know you want to do something. Hey look, you can play Final Fantasy XIV, but no. We don't want, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna sit and do nothing for 2 hours. I wish I could just be I wish my brain would just work sometimes. At the core of that, I suppose, like the not experiencing the hunger and such, also, I'm not using it too much at the minute, so I'll just... Let's fade back to the full-size screen. I'm not using the pen as much as I thought I would. So, yeah, it come... where's my point? I've lost my notes. I need my notes. I've forgotten where I am. My memory doesn't last this long. Yeah, I suppose when it comes down to... Yeah, with the hunger and tiredness and all, it comes down to not being able to interpret my own body's needs, or rather, not even my own body's needs, but how my brain doesn't process my own experiences correctly. I feel is maybe the right way to put it. This is... I'm not sure. I have definitely been told, and from what I'm aware, this isn't against something other people with autism struggle with. Because it comes, I feel probably is all the worst area. Like the eating thing and the sleeping thing is problematic, yes, practically. But the real struggle is emotionally. Excuse me. I really struggle with understanding what I'm feeling. Like, if I'm really happy, I can experience that, or if I'm really upset, I know that. But I tend to struggle a wee bit with... It's one of the reasons why, when I was attending counselling, I would be able to go into the counselling, and, you know, they'd ask the usual question of, so, how are you today? Tell me how you're feeling. How do I do that? And that's a... Oh. That's one of the real struggles. Is I feel in the end, and what I'm struggling with now is being able to actually explain and elaborate on what I'm thinking and feeling, because I know I'm feeling things. I know I have emotions in there. I know I'm experiencing them. Oh, hello. FHTD? No, DTD? What's your little 6 days ago? Oh, well, welcome back. You've chosen an odd one to come back to, because this is this is definitely not what I was streaming 6 days ago. Thank you for the follow, though. I'm just here a little bit for... I mentioned it at the start, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt to recap now that... I'm just using Twitch and YouTube a bit as an outlet to vent, to talk a little bit about the, you know, my experiences with autism, ADHD, and anxiety. Mostly all I'm doing is complaining, but you know, I think as well, like, it's just helpful for me to actually get a chance to just talk. Yeah. What was I doing 6 days ago? 6 days ago would have been Thursday. Oh, that would have been Okami, probably. Oh, you also have autism? Hey, friends! Oh, I just got into trying to talk about... Oh, you could maybe... Oh, it's... Yeah, it is. No, I suppose you maybe do it... maybe you can understand what I'm talking about at the minute, but... No, I've just been making the point of not being able to interpret what I'm actually feeling at times. I don't know if do you ever have the that little struggle where you don't feel hungry until you're, you know, nearly fainting because of it? It's not until you have the shakes that you actually kind of realize, oh, I should probably eat something. Mongoloid? Mongoloid? That's a new one for me. I'm gonna hold up a sec. I need to look that one up. Oh, okay. Not a... Fair enough. Now, people over here never used such a, you know, such fancy terms. We just generally got the latter. Sure. To be fair though, it's not... I have to say, I'm kind of fortunate. I've never been at the brunt of any too much like bullying or anything because of my autism. I've been worried about it for a while. For me, I think a lot of my worries and stress come from... I think it's myself creating my problems. Yeah. Oh, I do know a lot of people have had it a lot worse than me with experiences. It's never nice. Cool. Cool. I'm trying to actually remember what my high school was like now. I'm not in too much of a position to be bullied anymore. Now that I in Australia, oh, they fit in here. Yeah. I unfortunately have to admit I am not all that familiar with Australia. I'm here in the UK at the moment. Oh, I say at the moment, I've always been here in the UK. No. I do know a lot of... Yeah, it is something I do know. I am fortunate that I've never been really the target of bullying. So, at least I'm not aware I've ever been the target of bullying. It is possible I just, you know, wasn't smart enough to realize it, but I don't... Oh. Yeah, it is unfortunately not something I can talk about then, is the only thing. Oh. Hello. Am I still... Hello, Twitch. Why did you... Oh, okay, I'm still there. Oh, it was Wales, England, Scotland, Ireland. I am in Northern Ireland. That's the... the little bit of Ireland that's not Ireland. So, yeah. I'm in the part of Ireland that's part of the United Kingdom, but still not... We're in a really weird situation now, especially with Brexit. Oh, where was I at? Close to the Isle of Man? Oh, yeah, fairly close, actually. I think the Isle of Man's actually the one, like, country in the United Kingdom I haven't been to. No, because I've been to... Yeah, the Isle of Man's the one that's in between Ireland and Britain. And then you have the Isle of Wight is the one that's... the little one down to the south. I've lost my point in my notes now. Where I don't have many notes left to look through. We have French UK. I have French UK. Cool. Jersey and Gorset. Jersey and Gorset. Isle of Wight. Oh, the Isle of Wight. It's actually Isle of Wight, the W-I-G-H-T, I believe. As in, like, the ghost banshee. No, Wights aren't banshees. No, it's not the color white. It is the ghost white. Yeah. No, leftovers from the 200 years old. Oh. Oh, okay. This is a history lesson. You're proving yourself smarter than me already. I'm familiar with one aspect of history, and like one very specific aspect of history, because that is when I was doing my... was it doing my A-levels or GCSEs? I had a hyperfixation on the wrong part of the course. I suppose brings us a little bit back to the ADHD part of things. No, but you're supposed to be... Yeah, no. I'm not a fan. My plan long term is just to get out of the UK entirely. I have no opinions one way or the other than that, you know, there are places I'd rather be. Oh, but yeah, no, during hyperfixation story, I was doing, I think it was my second year of GCSEs. We had to study the Russian Revolution in history. And, oh, what was it? Yeah, the big part of it was, you know, looking at all the different San Marino. It's very much a, you know, low odds dream, but my ideal target is to get over to Japan, because that is one other lifelong hyperfixation I've had, is pretty much everything Japan. Oh. But yeah, when we were studying the Russian Revolution, big part of it was looking at the causes, like why the Russian Revolution happened. And we had all, like, there was all the usual suspects, like the, you know, World War One. Siberia is pretty massive. Siberia is massive. Russia is massive. The first time I went to Japan, well, both times I've went to Japan, I've flown. Well, I suppose the second time I flew to Japan, it wasn't quite over. Don't get me started on walking to Japan. I have considered. I have looked into this before. I have people who would, you know, be a bit annoyed if I tried to do that, because I did do a walk to get to Japan before. Last time I went to Japan, because I was going out on as part of a missions placement, I did a fundraiser. And I walked from a place called, is it Mazenhead? Mazenhead to Maizenhead? Or is it Mazenhead to Maizenhead? Which is the northernmost point of Ireland, like the island of Ireland, to the southernmost point over the course of 13 days. And everyone takes 3 sheeps and a backpack and a bed. Oh. Also far more self-discipline than I currently have. Because I was able to get, I made it, I think it was 11 days into the walk when I had to give up. It wasn't long after I'd made it to a city called Limerick. So I made it quite a bit of the way down through Ireland. But at which point, my feet had just got that sore that I just had to stop. I went to see a podiatrist, a foot doctor, to look at my feet, and she was like, you're not allowed to walk for 2 weeks. Which was a bit of a bummer, because, you know, I was in the middle of a sponsored walk. I kind of still had, you know, people, you know, paying money to support me, to see me make this walk. Sell 1 sheep. Good mate. So don't tempt me. I have, again, like I said, I have considered this before, and with my experience, I would know better how to plan and prepare for it. So I just kind of work out. It would take like nearly a full year of walking. No, but I think I will take. I think I would take the plane if I was getting to Japan again. But no, I'll keep my healthy. Eat for cheap. So, I think I need more than 1 sheep's worth of meat to keep me going for a full year. Oh. Yeah, it was. I need to go not get. I say I need to not get distracted this easily, but this makes the point. I've been talking about ADHD during this one. That's why I trade gift. Ooh. Oh. I would love to do a walk like that, but I do feel I don't have the self-discipline to carry out an activity like that. I would love to try doing a walk across Ireland again, because that one was, I feel I was so close to doing it if I just put a bit more thought into pacing myself and, you know, leaving myself a bit more time to account for the weather. You really don't want to walk in bad weather, because that really messes you up. But people in the Russo-Japanese War walked longer. Yep. That's the Russo-Japanese War, though. This brings it. I will finish this point I started making. Yeah, because we had talking about in my GCSE history classes, talking about the causes of the Russian Revolution. We had all the big things like World War One, there were things I've forgotten most of them because none of them cared. But there was this one bit that was only worth like 1 or 2 marks in the exam, which was just mentioned the Russo-Japanese War. Just a brief mention of this one. But my brain kind of went. You mentioned Japan, sir. I'm going to study this bit and started like looking in like an awful lot into the Russo-Japanese War and what went on there. Because there were some. I thought there's a lot of interesting things about the Russo-Japanese War, particularly the story I still find amusing about how the Russian Navy, because they shot a British fishing ship thinking it was a warship, and that annoyed the Brits. So the Brits told Russia, nope, you can't travel through our seas, which meant the Russian Navy wasn't allowed to travel north over Russia. It had to go out and around the south of Asia. So they went through to the crossing, I can't remember the name of it, but where Africa meets Asia and Europe. They went to cross there, were turned away because, you know, at the time, the British Empire existed and the Brits were there too. So the Russian Navy had to go the whole way around Africa, around Asia, to get to Japan, and then in the opening battle lost their... Suez Canal, that's the name of it. And then they arrive at... what's it called? Yellow... Wait, is it the Yellow Sea? I've forgotten the name of the sea between Korea and Japan. But the Russian fleet arrives after this long journey that was like 8-9 months it took them to get all that way, and then in the opening phases of the battle, lost the bridge on their command ship. I just found that story amusing, that they put so much effort and so much time, and it took so long for the fleet to arrive, and it loses its battle almost immediately. And it's interesting to read about, because despite it not really being something that comes up much in history classes, the Russo-Japanese War actually had a fair bit of influence, I feel. Oh. Because it was, you know, in the 1900s, the first example of kind of like against these new superpowers, Russia and the USA, that, you know, this small country that, how does autism affect you in strife? In strife, like in, how'd you say, like confrontational social situations, that kind of strife? Because, I don't deal particularly well with confrontational situations. Quite often my reaction is I've gotten a little, if I'm feeling confident at the time, I can kind of deal with them, but I tend to be very much, I'll try and just be a people pleaser. I tend to just try and go, okay, yes, nope, that's okay, I'll just accept what they're saying and get out of the situation as quickly as possible. Other times, most recently, those kind of confrontational situations I've been in have been when I've been at work. Because I do volunteer a bit in a retail environment. And it would be when we have customers who are a bit, how do we say, dissatisfied with something or other. And, you know, some of them can get quite vocal about them being... Oh. If I do something and I'm just told it's bad? Oh, if I... Oh, that's... Oh, yeah, that would be... Yeah, I'd consider that more rejection than strife, but... Yeah, I feel it depends on how it's delivered. If someone just tells me something's bad, then... I mean, I have very low self-esteem in the first place, so you know what? I'd probably agree with them. If it's... Oh. If I'm thinking about this from an autism way... This one's really kind of situational, I feel. Like, if it's work I've done that I haven't done particularly well, I can... Generally, as long as it's kind of... As long as the person's not angry with me. If it's a kind of a, hey, you haven't done this particularly well, can we try this again? Or if it's delivered like that, I can learn from it. I can accept that. I'm okay with that. If it's kind of someone going, oh, what are you doing? This is trash. That is something I can unfortunately offer no advice on. I am... That is a certain area of life I have zero experience in. Oh. No. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I can't imagine that's... So... Sorry? Yeah. Stop thinking. And speak. Yeah, stop thinking. Oh. Hey, that's part of the reasons I've started streaming in the first place is to try and teach myself to just speak. Because I have a tendency to go the opposite way, and I think too much before I speak. Which ends up with me having long periods of I will sit there and not say anything, and then say something. No. But unfortunately, that's just one area of life I don't anticipate I'll ever really be able to comment on. Because I have enough experience with relationships and enough experience with myself to... I don't think I'm ever going to, you know, get to that stage in a relationship. Ever have that thing and feeling you hate, like, really hate sensation? Oh, yes. Several of those. most of mine are to do with food textures. That was one I was talking about. I think it wasn't too long before you joined the stream, but food textures definitely are a. It's it used to be kind of a lot of different textures. Now it's more. I've kind of. What's the word? I've kind of disciplined myself to get better at dealing with certain ones. But unexpected textures, like if there's a little bit of gristle in meat or something. Find stuff with no texture. No texture. This was there. I'm trying to think what would be considered no texture. So, but for me, definitely, I think it's like unexpected stuff. Like I like being able to trust what food will taste like. No, it's why I can't. Oh, like I don't mind brown bread, but granary bread, or whole grain bread that has like the actual seeds and such in it, I really can't stand, because I don't know if like is this bite going to have like lots of big seeds in it. Like imagine a very polished steel wall. See, the thing you say something like that to me, and I take it literally and literally imagine eating a steel wall. That is crunchy, very fine steel. Oh, well, okay, no, I don't like that one. I don't like the I don't like the imagination of eating silk. That is, yeah. Nope, I can be with you. I can be with you on that one. But on the skin, Oh, like on the. Oh yeah, we're not talking about. Sorry, I'm sorry. My brain. Okay, sorry. My brain was still thinking of food connections. Okay, right. Swapping gears. Stuff like that. It depends. Very fine stuff. Yeah, I can have a bit of an issue with that. For me, it's when it comes to sensations on the skin, very much it would be dust would be for me, or paint. If I get paint on my skin, like no. I do not like that. Which is awkward because I, have Warhammer as a hobby. My hobbies cause me pain. Fabrics. Ooh. Yeah, fabrics have. There are some. I know. Really thick liquids, like to drink, or just the is this like to drink or the experience of the feel of them again? Is try malices on the skin. I'm not sure. Thick liquids. I think it depends on whether the liquid's sticky or not. Like if it's just one of those slime things that you can play around with, I'd be fine with that. But I hate stuff that sticks to my six. Like if it's like a syrup or something on my skin, that's really don't like that. Fine. Sorry. No, you saying the word prime is just I have a mild hyperfixation on super sticky and thick that like clings to. Oh yeah, no. If it clings, definitely no. I don't like that stuff at all. That is a get me home. I want to take a shower immediately experience. No, but mentioning Prime, you bring up a word association that triggers one of my hyperfixations in a minute, which is I've been getting back into my Metroid fandom recently, and when I think Metroid Prime. So that was my introduction to the game. Random pointy stuff? Random pointy stuff? Ooh. Random pointy things like... No, like getting like a little thorn in your shoe or something? Ooh, I don't have much experience too much with random pointy stuff. I suppose except I have a few occasions like had random like, yeah. It's mostly thorns in my shoes. Things like random pointy hair on a cheek. Oh. Random. Okay, that kind of random pointy. Okay, that's a... That is a weird little story, but I have... Oh, it's more... This is more of a just... It really bothers me because it's out of place. It's not necessarily there's no texture or anything I feel about it. But mentioning the random hair... I always have... On my right bicep, like slap bang in the middle of it, I just have one hair growing. Just one. And it really bothers me. Because it's so out of place and so random, and it's... Oh. Because it visually bothers me, I have to shave it whenever it grows tall enough. But the thing is with shaving hairs is that they end up getting pointy and prickly. I'm checking now. It's I've shaved it. I shaved it recently, and because you brought it up, I'm now noticing the pointiness again. I know you didn't bring it up. I brought it up. Well, that's word connection, thought connection. My brain going in every which direction. Oh. I'm actually looking for my notes. I don't think I actually have anything else I particularly meant to talk about. I've run out of notes. Oh, hello. That's OBS. Random bitter tastes at last second and leave. Bitter. What does bitter taste like? What's... Oh no, I didn't want the full screen. What does bitter taste like? I'm trying to... Like heavy bit. I'm trying to think of something like a taste I can actually relate to that is bitter. Because I normally don't... I know what sweet tastes like. Imagine raw lemon and garlic. Lemon sour... Garlic... Ugh. That's not a pleasant... I definitely know the sourness of lemon. No, I don't know what flavor that is, but it's not a pleasant one. Oh, no. Yeah, taste for me is... Yeah, that's bitter. Oh. Yeah, taste for me is... It's always been the sense I've... I suppose it's a tough call between taste and sound. Taste I'm getting better with, but like if it's unexpected or it's not supposed to be there... Like, if as you say, it's like, if it was a random bitter taste, like, that would definitely put me off something. When they squirt lime into a drink of a tiny garlic. I'd rather not do that. That sounds like something I very much would not enjoy doing. Oh. Oh, I'm someone who likes my drinks to be sweet. I am very much a fruit juice and soda person. Random popping up. Yeah. No, that's... Yeah, no. I think for me, any random taste is not something I enjoy. I like knowing what I'm tasting. I like making sure it's... Cool. No, like, I know... It's not to the same extent, but it's like if you have, like, a bag of... Not even a bag, like a plate of chips, but you've, like, you've sprinkled some... You can move it? What? Just there? Ugh. Is this something that Is this something that happens often? Oh. It is one of the advantages of being out on my own and cooking all my own meals. But when I do remember to cook my meals, at least that I can kind of am in control of everything that goes in my mouth. If I don't, if I'm not cooking something, words. Yeah. You get the idea. Let's look at the other one. Anything else on this list that I've missed? I have a whole list here of problems I have. I need to make an account. I need to make a counter list of the things I'm good at. Just imagine fine silk on teeth. Yep. I mean, to be fair, you just have to get me thinking about teeth. I don't like thinking about teeth in general. If they weren't so necessary for eating. Oh. It's hard for me to imagine too much because I don't actually have much experience with fine silk. Don't know if I have much experience with silk in the first place. Silk's all a bit fancy for me. Oh. Oh, I'm not seeing anything. Imagine rubbing against your teeth, but you can only feel the vibrations. Okay, no. Oh, yeah. No. Okay, no. If I'm getting this right, no, I don't like that. That's not a... Blech. Nope, I could do without that. You're giving me a list of just a list of unpleasant experiences that I kind of never want to experience in reality. Ultra high pitch? Oh no. Oh yeah, no, noise is definitely like. Oh no, I'd hate noises like that as well because I can't even like you can't even cover your ears when it's like directly vibrating through your skull. Yeah. No. Yeah. Hey, taste is a bad one for me, but noise is really the sense I struggle with. That's why, like, I nearly never go out without my sound cancelling headphones these days. Oh, another yawn. I'm tired. I think I'm tired. I'm yawning a lot, so I must be, right? Really calming noise? Is this a genuine calming noise, or is this a trap? Cool. YouTube. Do I trust the link? Where is... I don't actually... Ooh. I might have to...
Have you always wanted to be a great singer? Hey there, I'm Alexander Stewart, a singer here.
That's an advert. In fact, oh wait, no, is that I want to... That's what I think it... Oh, no. Okay, no, I can... That's one of the... That's one place where I think it might come down to personal preference, because that kind of noise... no. Those don't work for me at all. No. If they work for you, like, all power to you. I like, I'm not good with just noise for the sake of noise. Sync for hours. No, I like having, I don't want to say coherent sound. I don't feel coherent is the right word. But like something with substance, maybe? Is substance the right word? Like music. But quite often I'll find like some video game music or something that I can put on a loop. Like something that's not all too lyrical that I need to think about, that's just kind of background noise. Oh. But also, can you listen to one? I might be able to. I don't think I can do it on stream because just I'm cautious of copyright stuff. Like all the music I have going on in the background at the minute is I can confirm that as being non-copyright. But I will quickly add and pause that. Oh, okay, yeah. Copyright free. This is cool. Who knows it? Yeah, I would just... Yeah. It's just to keep myself safe on stream, but I will give that a bit of a listen to. Oh, but no, I've been struck for stuff that I thought was copyright free before. That's why all the music I have playing now is from No Copyright Sound, which is a group entirely focused on providing music for streams like this. Songs 20 before no copyright. Ooh, see, I think it's even if the song is older, the actual cover of the song, like the people singing it, still have copyright to that version of the song. So there's a difference between a cover of a song being copyrighted and the song itself. Hello. That was loud. That comes through on the mic. There's roadworks going on outside, and it sounded like something, they just dropped something heavy. Ooh. If they're going to start dropping heavy things, though, that's probably because it is coming up on 2 hours, which means I will be looking at finishing up now. Oh no, yeah, that's what I mean. The song itself probably doesn't have copyright if it's before then, because actually I don't even know if it's 100 years. I think no, it's not 50 years. I think it's 100 years. After 100 years, like, copyright expires, but that would only apply in this case to the lyrics and the music, if they weren't already allowed for use by the public. But if the individual band that did a cover of it, their cover of it is still under their copyright. But yeah, I will definitely give that a listen to. But, like I say, it is 1 o'clock now, which means I will be finishing up the stream. Because, what do I normally do at the end of a stream? Oh yeah, I'll be back. Oh, today actually. I was about to say I won't be back till tomorrow, but no, I will be back today. I'll be back tonight at work for me brain. 8 o'clock. Yes. I'll be back at 8 o'clock with a Persona 5, where we'll be starting into the Royal content after we defeated the final boss in that stream that went on for far too long on Monday. I'll be back again tomorrow then as well with starting up Persona 4 Ultimax. And then it'll be Persona 5 on Friday again, and finishing up Mad Father on Saturday. My brain is going really slow today. But that will be all for this stream. I know there wasn't much to it, but hopefully you got a little bit of something out of my rambling. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about it once I've, have more coherent thoughts, if I ever get better at making notes to follow. But until next time, thank you so much for coming along and watching. I really hope you enjoyed. And until next time, have a good day, have a good evening. Until next time, goodbye.